Welcome home. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore. We are Baltimore positive. I thought I was going to need my little light here. I have like a little light that would light us up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Well, your star, there we go. Casper Wells and I are here together. We're at Koco's.
You going to hold that the whole time?
No, I'm not going to do that. I was just goofing around. I'm just trying to see if it actually worked or not. I think the battery will run low. It's all brought to you by the Maryland Lottery. I always get like a bowl of soup and a cereal when I get here. I didn't do it, and I think my sugar's getting low, and I'm going to have to get like a bowl of cream of crab soup. Casper's never been over here to Koco, so we're going to send him in with some crab cakes, as well as a Maryland Treasures scratch-offs from the Maryland Lottery. Also, our friends at GBMC putting me out on the road and getting me a full physical next Thursday. I'm having like a real doctor's appointment for the first time since I was like 30. I'm like 57.
That's when you're on the Orioles, right?
I should go to the doctors more often. I know. I got my chart out. I'll be there next week. Also, our friends at Farland and Dermer, they do HVAC as well as plumbing. They do it better than anybody. And, I mean, on the spot when I had a leak 2 weeks ago, Sean came out, fixed it all up. We had a soft spot in our pipe. Don't ask me how or why, but we did. Are you acetate courses? Are you Boardwalk, Ocean City? Are you crab, heron, mollusk? Or are you Bay Bridge? Because you're not even from around here. You're like an upstate New York dude, right?
Yeah. Not a lot of water.
Which one you think you want?
Oh, probably crab. Probably we'll go with the crab. My daughter's going to be scratching
it's
anyway.
Number 42. What number did you wear in the big leagues? What number?
I don't know. It's Jackie Robinson. You can't go wrong, right? So
Jackie Robinson, number 42. That's going to be a winner there. Casper Wells was a Towson graduate who went on to star in Major League Baseball, former Major League Baseball player here. As he said, I asked you if you were nervous, and you're like, dude, I stood in the box at Yankee Stadium. I don't get nervous about talking about LLS and talking some baseball with me.
Sure.
And insurance. You work for Heller Kowitz. My friends, Brian Kowitz, who I saw, he was doing something cool last night. Was he at a ball game or something like that? I don't know where he was.
He went to visit his son. His son got a job. He's
right.
a
He's in Kansas
meteorologist.
City. He's in Kansas City
now. So the Orioles are in town.
From
so
Tucson
they
to
went
Kansas
down.
City, right? Yeah.
It's a good upgrade. I mean, I spent some time in Scottsdale, so I know Tucson is a little different than there. So going to Kansas City, that's a good
I always give Kowitz a hard time saying the night he won the World Series, I was in the locker room that night. I got him the Atlanta Journal-Constitution front page for him. So I owe you, Bri. What can I say? But Casper Wells is here. Now, you came on at Christmas time with me and my cousin, John Shields, over at Gertrude's. And I felt like we talked a lot about, like, holidays and hams and Thanksgiving and Christmas and all that.
Sure.
And you're not like a Baltimore guy. Like, how did you get to Towson? And then the big league path. We want to talk baseball. I didn't do any of that with you last time.
Yeah.
But you're back in Baltimore. You sell insurance here, local, made a life here. We talked about upstate New York, but like, this is special for you to be in a baseball town during a baseball season, right? Raising a family, right?
No, absolutely. First and foremost, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Always great to talk with you. Obviously, get to talk baseball a little bit.
He wants to talk baseball, so I'm like, all right, we'll do it. Let's do it.
Well, it occupied pretty much my entire life, so leading up to going to Towson. So let's get back to what you're asking about. Upstate New York. It was really you're kind of limited in your options, right? It gets cold. I mean, there's some games we're shoveling off the field before we get started and up, in high school. So we're kind of late to the ball. And
it's like Mike Bordick being from Maine. That's tough to do.
Yeah. So you really got to stand out, I think, or at least get scouted like a year prior. So, for me, I was kind of limited in my options. I know Towson was something. I had a good relationship with my summer baseball coach. I had a good relationship with Mike Gottlieb, who was the head coach at Towson. So, honestly, it's a funny story. I went down to visit Towson.
Did you know how to pronounce it? Did you call it Towson?
No, Towson.
You knew.
Yeah.
Elaine Bennis?
I guess
no.
I just called it.
Seinfeld? No, all right.
What, she's from there?
She went to Towson. Yeah, she's from Towson.
Okay.
That was
There's
her
some
shtick.
other hidden
That's why
gem
she had the Oriole hat on when she went to the game, right? She went to the Yankee Stadium.
That's right.
She wore an Oriole hat.
I didn't know that.
But she was from Towson, so she said
great.
it
Towson
right.
alum.
Yeah,
she was Towson State,
right, good.
probably when it was State.
I don't know if she allegedly went to Towson. She's from Towson.
Sure.
Elaine Bennis.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Fictional character.
Well, interesting. That's good. You learn something new every day.
But, I mean, I've heard it pronounced the wrong way by people out of town, right?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Towson.
Yeah. Well, my hometown's pronounced wrong by Schenectady.
Schenectady. I know how to say it.
Yeah. Well, it's Schenectady.
It takes practice, though.
I'm not going to tell you how we learned how to say it because it's not it's PG, a little PG-13.
We have 7
so.
things we try not to say here. Sometimes we get away with it. But
Yeah, so I mean, like they just had a relationship, so I ended up going to Towson, ended up playing there. I actually was just Coach Gottlieb was pretty hard pressed on me just being a pitcher, and I kept bugging him every day to let me hit. So one day, let me take BP with something with the catcher's group, and I was putting him in the trees, and he was like, "Okay, you can swing it a little bit."
Well, this Nunez guy's crazy, right? I mean, to go the other way to become a pitcher and actually make it. Adam Lowen was a guy that was drafted here that did but that's really hard to do once you. Not to mention Shohei Ohtani, right? The crazy part of that.
Yeah.
But being able to throw the ball well and being a pitcher is different than, or being able to hit the ball well enough to say, I deserve to be in the lineup every day, even though I can pitch a little bit. I don't know. I mean, everybody gives that up in high school. Little league, your dad was a manager. You play third base and pitch, or play shortstop and pitch. We all did that, right?
Yeah.
But then there comes a point where, you're one or the other, for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part. I think it was just a combination of, I threw hard, had some good stuff, and I hit home runs. So it's well, we got to figure out how to do it. I DH'd a lot when I was pitching and starting.
You make more money hitting if you were my kid. How old are you?
41.
Yeah, my son's 41. So you're born.
Yeah.
My kid was born September 22nd, 84. You older or younger than him?
November 23rd, 84.
So you're younger than my son. That's totally weird. But it's totally weird. I don't think of you as being
it's
that
2 months.
young. No, but you could be you're my son's age, right? At that point,
Yeah.
if you were my kid, I'd say, hit the ball, dude. Your arm will fall off. It's if you could play football or baseball, play baseball because you don't get hit in the head.
Well, that's what happened.
Right?
My dad was a football player, and he steered me towards baseball. He's like, don't play football because he got hurt. He went to Colgate and played and ended up getting hurt, so he just steered me towards baseball. Yeah, so
and it worked out great. You played in the big leagues,
worked
man.
out. Yeah, I always played my friends. All my friends played too growing up, and were
you a
back in the
three-sport
day.
kid?
Back in when I was growing up, there wasn't cell phones and distractions, so people actually went outside and played. And,
yeah, but you played 3-sport. You were a normal kid.
Yeah,
you played basketball or no?
I did up to a certain point. Then I was pretty much playing. I was kind of playing. I played football after Varsity Blues came out. So my sophomore year of high school, I played 1 year, and I was like, I'm way too far behind. Basketball's really competitive where I go, and you're in the Schenectady High School, Pat Riley Sports Center. Pat Riley went to my high school, so it's really popular, especially around the era I was. We had great basketball teams, like state champion basketball teams. So those guys, a lot of those guys came up together in the systems, right? I tried out my junior year, and they were like, "Where'd you come from? You're just starting out for the basketball team all of a sudden?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want to play basketball now," and. I wouldn't say political, but I wasn't coming up with those guys. They're like, "Oh, you try out next year, my senior year," and I'm like, "No, I'm gonna stick."
But you weren't a baseball baby
baseball.
where you were 13 months a year and your parents were taking you to Florida and doing tournaments.
No,
and you made it to the big leagues.
I was snowboarding and skiing at a certain point, but not in high school. I mean, I was just
guys in your part of the world played hockey, like the Tom Glavins that played baseball. They played hockey. New England people.
Yeah, you're only throwing and hitting inside so much. It's like I need to get outside and do some things. Go up a mountain or do something.
But that's not the way it is for kids these days, right?
Yeah. I don't know. We'll figure out. My son's 2.5, and my daughter's just turning 5 this weekend. So we'll see what the landscape's like for kids, like playing sports and what.
I have Gary
in Arizona,
coming by later. Gary's been doing high school sports over 40 years. I can't wait to get his observations.
Yeah, sure.
Because I had Chris Corman on last week, the editor of the Banner. He coaches Little League. He has a Little League hat on, and I know it's important to him and his kids. And he's like, "Yeah, my kid plays soccer, and I'm coaching Little League because that's what I want to do."
Yeah.
And man, if your kid's into soccer and they're going to go to these academies or they play lacrosse, they're never going to pick up a baseball glove. It's a little foreign to me because we played all sports.
Yeah.
I'm a half a generation older than you, but I can't imagine being from. I don't consider Schenectady the farm, but it's not the big city, and
Sure.
I would think of your era. Most of the kids in your neighborhood were either your soccer, football, or baseball, wrestling, or maybe lacrosse in your community at that point, maybe. But lacrosse has come on to be a thing here where between that and soccer and these other things, kids aren't playing baseball the way I play baseball.
Sure. I mean, lacrosse originated in upstate New York.
Sure, Syracuse.
Yeah, and so, I mean, it's still, there's some areas, like my high school specifically wasn't, like my buddies that didn't make the baseball team play lacrosse, just to put it in perspective. So it's a lot different than the point of view down here. I
grew up in Dundalk in the 80s.
Everyone,
I never held a lacrosse stick in my life. It just didn't come to me.
No.
We played baseball. That's what we played.
Yeah.
Everybody played baseball.
Yeah, so it's just different times. I mean, there's so many distractions. So, but we went out and played baseball, and I just found that I was good at it when we played with my friends, and just kept kind of transpiring into, in Little League, was hitting home runs, and just kind of kept going with it. I was like, oh, I'm good at this, and it's fun because I'm good.
Were you a Yankees kid?
Yeah.
Or?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Grew up
okay.
upstate New York in the 90s, yeah. Albany Colony Yankees were, right there, too. See Jeter and, Bernie come up through there.
So did you get to go to Yankee Stadium as a kid on a trip here?
Oh, yeah, of course.
So you went to games?
Every year when the Mariners come in town, I was a big Griffey fan, so I would always go down.
Oh, wow. So you wound up playing for a team you loved, right?
Yep. Yeah.
That's kind of neat.
Yeah, but I never asked him for anything. I just said hi. I didn't he was someone I was like no one really is shocking from a celebrity standpoint. Maybe some actors, actresses, if I see them, I'll be like, oh, wow, okay, look at, so-and-so.
Well, you can't be starstruck when you're getting in the batter's box, right?
No, I mean, you can't be in the big leagues. But, Griffey, obviously, his posters are all in my room. Growing up, he was idolized them and played his video games and so on and so forth. So seeing Griffey is like, oh, wow, okay. So I just said, hey, Griffey, hey, Ken, nice to meet you. Hey, Wellsy, and that's it, basically. I didn't ask him for an autograph. I didn't want to give him a reason to,
be weird.
Yeah, I was just like, it's cool. I said hi to him. That's it. That's all I need,
Casper Wells is here. He played in the big leagues. He sells insurance now. But more than that, I hit you to come out.
Sure.
And you're like, hey, I'm doing this LLS thing. And I kind of had forgotten it. Andy hit me to bring Katie Grasmick out, who I've met through the By. And Kate Paris and I have done yoga recently. She's better at yoga than me. Made me angry because I think I'm pretty decent, but she's better at it. So I've been doing this visionary thing for years. My wife attended in 2014 when she was in peril. My wife's had 2 bone marrow transplants. We've been very involved with LLS and There Goes My Hero and Be the Match and DKMS, who were involved in her donor. So, you said you want to talk baseball. I could sit here and cry talking about the LLS part of this. But you have been recruited through your Heller Kowitz Association and your Major League Baseball alum celebrity and your Towson celebrity and the fact that you're out networking, selling insurance at Heller Kowitz. You've got something on your mind with this too, right? So, this is something where when you're running for Visionary of the Year, you're putting together some events here the next couple of weeks, getting them before January or June 6th. June 6th, the big night at the Pendry, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I do have a couple events coming up. Just get-togethers where some of the proceeds will go back to my specific campaign. I guess just saying how my reason for getting involved. So Nick Schultz, who I work with over at Heller Kowitz, he won Visionary of the Year last year. So obviously
I had him on the show. It was good karma.
Yeah, so obviously he asked me to be involved, kind of passing the torch, if you will, over at Heller Kowitz. But at the gala last year that I heard Nick speak at.
You went to the gala last year. Okay.
Yeah, down at Guilford Hall Brewery. There was a girl there named Sophia, and I saw her story where she was on set with leukemia at the age of 4. Me and my wife were there, and obviously overcame it. And I get to see all these pictures that are very, very tough to see with the tubes tied up and everything else going through it, hearing the story, seeing the family. Our daughter's 4 at the time, me and my wife, so it's everything for us just to feel that. And when Nick asked me, I was like, absolutely. I was part of organizations back in Arizona when me and my wife were out there before, and everything always centered around kids and just being blessed and fortunate to, first of all, be able to have kids,
Absolutely.
But secondly, healthy and anything I could do to give back, given my platform and just things I experience. I feel like this is the least I can do is be part of this journey. Look, it's the #1 childhood cancer, child and teens is leukemia, and these funds actually go to the research that helps provide cures and helps family be able to afford medicines that'll ultimately make them whole again. And we've already seen a tremendous impact, and Katie and everyone else that's on the Visionary team is really doing something special here. So I'm happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, my wife spent 155 nights in Hopkins fighting for her life. 2 different bone marrow transplants, 2 different journeys, one in 14, one in late 15 that led into 16. And seeing people that didn't have the insurance, they needed help, I tell this story about my wife had this patch that would make her not nauseous, and the girl in the next bed had 3 little children coming every weekend from Northern Virginia, had a different insurance. Those patches were $400 a piece, or some outrageous amount of money, and my wife was just sneaking her patches, so she wouldn't be throwing up. And this is what goes on in the hole there. We call it the hotel. but it was more like a prison, like literally. My wife even said last night, we were out grocery shop, and she said, my port, where she had her biopsy, she said, it's itching a little bit, like the scar's itching. And I'm like, maybe just a stretch or something like that. She's like, no, it's a little more sensitive than it usually is. And it's just like, at that moment, like, I almost want to change the topic because I'm like, I don't want her to go back into the hole of like, and even like having you out talking about it, sometimes it's tough for me. And I had Katie and Andy out an hour ago. We were talking about it here at Koco's.
Yeah.
And I said, sometimes I well up, sometimes it's a mess. But, like, it's not something I go home and say to my wife, hey, I had the LLS people on. You want to talk about your cancer some more?
No, yeah.
Hey, how are you feeling today? So it is a little bit of a sensitive headspace topic for my wife to be like, she lived through enough of that shit. You know what I mean? I don't really.
You too. It's a very emotional thing for you and your wife.
Yeah, and that's why, like,
you don't want to really conjure that up. I'm sure when you go home, you want to enjoy it. It's not you want to bring up something that was so emotionally tied for so long, and it
would
kind
take
of in
a lot
more of
for
a
me
negative
to run
light.
for Visionary and go back in the 90 days of talking
Yeah.
about it every minute of every day. And I know it would be really, I wouldn't say detrimental to her, but it wouldn't be empowering at this moment, where she is in life, to just get back from Italy and have her life be normal. She doesn't like thinking about her life not being normal because nothing was normal. So when you guys pick up the ball here and run with it, I have so much respect and time and effort to say you wanted to talk about baseball, and I'm like, nah, let's talk about LLS, man. Let's talk about why you did this and all that stuff. Yeah. But the baseball side of this is team's 500, got injuries, waiting on Holiday, waiting on Rutschman to get back. He's back. Mm-hmm. It's been a mess, but I think at the 50,000-foot level, I could talk to you about labor, and I could talk to you about, is this the last year, and what's going to happen with the Players Association, and they're clearly trying to break the union, and the Orioles have new ownership. But the ABS thing is the most interesting thing to me from a change standpoint that you as a former Major League Baseball player who lived your life in that strike zone forever, and yours being maybe a little different than somebody who's 6'6" and getting measured, and is that a strike? Is it a ball? Do I see it the same way? Measuring what umpires, how they would see a strike zone in the National League and the American League. I can't imagine what you must think of this on a night-by-night basis to say how many times you were rung up or got a walk or would have tapped your hat or would have called for this, or whether your manager would have been pissed if you were wrong, which is part of all of it for me, is being like, dude, it's a 0-0 count in the third inning. Don't challenge that. Don't challenge that, But we're seeing a box of chocolates a month into this, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's so many people ask me about it. First, it was the pitch clock, and then what I thought about ABS. I'll just put out there that I despised umpires when I played from an offensive side.
You hated them all equally.
Oh, God, I hated them. Because it's like, and I get it, I try to humanize it and say, like, they have a job to do. But at the major league level especially, I hate it. So Joe West and specifically is someone that – so I'll tell you a story. So when I was in the Tigers organization coming in. It was like one of the first games that I was like up, so I'm still nervous, like feeling it out. You're still like trying to get used to the big leagues, and we're playing the Kansas City Royals. And I get in the box, and I like heard something, and I'm like not paying attention because I'm like trying to concentrate on. I think Bruce Chen was pitching. I'm trying to concentrate here on him on the mound, and I end up grinding out. Next at bat, I get up, and Joe West stops like the game and comes up and says, "Son, next time you address me when you come in the batter's box." And I'm like, Joe, I'm not even thinking about you, man. I'm like trying to stay on this team. I'm trying to hit this. There's like a runner on second. So from that point on, it was a little, I understand like rookies get a little bit of initiation, but I just found at some ballparks too, like Yankee Stadium. I mean, I remember a ball that Robertson threw to strike me out that was almost touching me, and I back up and I saw it so well, and the umpire, rah! And I was like, at no point did that cross the plate. So I would have been hitting my helmet quite a bit, in fairness to what you're asking, because I just think there's a little bit of favoritism when it's a pitcher or not. And I think just having a concrete, it's already tough enough to hit. So I think I wouldn't give the pitchers any advantage. They're already throwing 105 miles an hour now. Throwing 100-mile-an-hour cutters is ridiculous the way they're throwing these days. So I always say just keep the strike zone what it is. hit your spots, and that way it's a little more. I feel like you have a little more offense because pitchers, batters will have a better understanding of their zone, and they don't have to move out or in. But yeah, I'm big in
You
the
like
ABS. Yeah, I do.
Did you know you were going to like it, or because thinking it through for me, I thought it was they're just trying to get rid of the umpires, and I have not had a lot of experience with umpires. I've told stories of I rode a bus shuttle after the Roberto Alomar spitting incident, back when you were a kid, Casper Wells.
I remember it.
And I was at the Alomar home run game in Cleveland in '96, and I got on a shuttle, and there was an umpire. I don't know who it was, but I remember as a reporter, I never interacted with umpires. Like, they just were never even around 45 minutes before a game. Like, I didn't know what Don Denkinger looked like or Harry Wendelstadt. Like, it just didn't occur to me. Now, being around the players all the time in the 90s, especially guys like Messina and Sutcliffe and the guys who really knew the game, they had scouting report on every umpire. Who's going to call a low strike? He's going to give you outside.
Yeah.
What's he going to give you tonight? Palmer would talk about that every night. Like, he's calling the high strike tonight, throw it, whatever. I thought this was a movement to get rid of umpires because they're arrogant, they're union, all of that stuff. Now that I've seen it in action, the first weekend, I'm like, no, this is American Idol without judges. They're the judges now. The umpires are the judges that you can now fight with the way Earl Weaver says, you're here for one goddamn reason to screw us, right? Like, I'm like, they're not going to get rid of the umpires. This is part of the fun. This is part of the television makeup.
Yeah.
And did you ever play Latin American ball? Did you ever play down in Dominican?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know the whistles,
Escondido,
right?
I played in San Domingo, and I played in
So
Caracas.
the whistles, right? Like when they disagree, they whistle, right? And then the manager, it's very peacocky in Latin America.
Yeah.
Not just flipping the bat, but I saw a game in Cuba where the manager came out and went all Pinella and all Earl Weaver, and the fans go nuts. That's part of Simon Cowell judging American Idol. So I'm thinking to myself, the umpires are the bad guys in the wrestling match.
Well, you can't get rid of them because then it's just...
You're not going to get rid of them.
You're not going to get rid of them. And it's good.
I thought the ABS thing was designed originally to get rid of umpires. I'm not convinced that's the case
anymore. I think it's more
anymore.
for accountability standpoint because they don't talk to media. They have a strong union. They're not talking after games, but there's some accountability for the calls
faceless.
they have, So I like having that accountability. I mean, look, if you're going to have this job tenure for so long and get paid what you do, I'm not sure what the average is. Not like ball players, but still, I mean, they have a comfortable. I mean, look,
are they necessary?
There's guys that aren't doing well that are still there year after year.
Angel Hernandez was last year, right?
Yeah. So I mean,
well, they're all getting graded every minute of every day now on a string to whether that ball's in the box or not. I've just found as a baseball game at home, and I went to the game last Wednesday and sat in a beautiful seat in the fourth row and baked. Thank you, Wendy, Curio Wellness. Not that kind of baking. It was hot. That was that kind of baking. She's my Curio rep. So you can't see the strike zone. And when I watch the game on TV, even when I came in here last Tuesday night and had some coconut shrimp, watching the game on TV has become elevated because of the box and because of the challenge system.
Yeah.
I think it's a much better – look, you grew up in the game. You played the game at a level I dreamed of. All I've ever done is made my living off the game and watching the game. There have been very few freaking things in your lifetime, young man, or in my lifetime, or people older, where I could say they made the game better. Like, did the DH make the game better? Okay, different, more offensive, whatever. Did interleague play make the game better? I don't know. Infield fly rule? I don't know.
The pitch clock?
Pitch clock made the game better.
Yeah, I think the speed's good. It's good.
It's made the game better. I would agree with that. This ABS thing, from a you and me sitting and watching the game, is that a ball? Is it a strike? From an entertainment standpoint, from a challenge standpoint, from a I know more than the umpire standpoint, and I can challenge it. They need more challenges. I think it needs to be 3, not 2. 2's not enough challenges to the game.
No.
I think 3 is going to be a better number. But a month into this, I can't think of anything in my lifetime that we began a season that made the game better. Not the bigger bags, I'm trying to think of things that have been this runner on second base in the 10th inning. That's goofy. Softball rules to save pitching. I don't necessarily love that lefties can't face lefties. I prefer that part of the strategy, even though it slowed the game down. I don't prefer the pitcher comes in and has to face 3 batters. Like I like the matchup the art of that better. But this is the one thing I will hang my hat on because the shifting and all that crap that happened during your era screwed the game up. Made the game longer, made the game less. Chris Davis is grounded out every time now. It made good players bad players. It took away bunting. It took away hit and run. It just took away a lot of strategy. This ABS thing, I am way 35 years on the radio. It's the first time I'm effusive about something in April, especially with a former Major League Baseball player, to say, like, they finally did something to make it really a lot better to sit and watch on it. My wife likes it better. 3 weeks into it.
Well, you could also say baseball adapted kind of the more Latin culture from a baseball perspective as far as, like, the entertainment, the celebrating, because that's the biggest thing I noticed when I was down to – I mean, they had cheerleaders dancing in the dugout, you know, when I was in Santo Domingo playing there for Escogido. And, you know, they're hitting home runs and pimping them and, like, jumping around and doing things. And it's part of the
fun to play ball in Venezuela.
So there's a lot of old school baseball guys. I'm part of a group, like, on Facebook. It's all, like, MLB and MLB guys. And they'll put something about people celebrating. And I think the thing that is missed in this, though, is the younger generations are kind of doing it. It's like, well, you haven't really earned your stripes yet. You know, professionals can do it, right? But who are those kids going to learn from and look up to, right? They don't, like, put your head down, hit a home run, and, like,
these celebrations
run.
In the NFL
but
are
there's
part
tons
of the
now.
video games.
NFL here, like, that's just kind of how it is. So it's kind of adapting. Like, I'm in that middle generation where I'm not like old school. I'm still, you know, millennial. I'm still kind of young. I mean, I'm 41, but I'm like.
If you flipped your bat, you would expect to get.
I'd wear it, yeah. I never did. I can remember the times that I've celebrated as such, and it's been either because I hit a home run super far or I hated the pitcher, and I'm like, okay, you knew that was coming, and once you give me something.
I hated pitchers throwing at guys' heads. I mean, like the Pedro Martinez, like I reported through all that area.
You don't throw it ahead. Throw behind them or just hit them.
I just hated fights in baseball. I hated all that macho bourgeois. Like, and I don't know if you're ever going to wear that part of it out of the game, but, like, just the dancing and the fights and but 99% of the stuff you ever jawed out in the dugout was the strike zone. Very rarely was a tag or the play at the plate or the catcher blocking the plate. All of these things that happen once a month in a game. The strike zone is every minute, every day, all day long, yelling at the ump, both dugouts. Catcher's doing it, pitcher's doing it, backup pitcher's doing it, ball boy doing it.
Yeah.
Everybody, I mean, you sat in those dugouts, minor league all the way up. The umpire's the bad guy and just got yelled at the whole game.
Yeah.
Now we have the tennis rule of it's on the line or it's not on the line. That's why I thought they were going to get rid of the umpires, but I think no, it's not. It's not in the best interest of American Idol or Dancing with the Stars to get rid of the judges. It's just not.
Yeah.
I never saw it that way. I saw it more like a jock. Like they're the judge. You know, that's what they are.
Yeah.
But what came with that, especially at the big league level, was probably a level of error. Did you ever know an umpire? You knew who they were, but you didn't talk to them.
I did. Sometimes I see them out after, like if they're saying that. Sometimes they say at the same hotel. Sometimes I see them out.
As a player, what did you interact with them about in regard to how they saw the game? Because I always saw it like umpires never talked to players, and if they did, it was over a beer or whatever.
Yeah.
But even if you were to have an honest conversation about how an umpire would set up if you were a catcher or what they were looking for, I don't know that there was dialogue there, right? Like in the way that you see a head coach talk to referees before and during and after a game or even mingling a little bit. The part like, I'm the effing umpire, get your ass back in the dugout. There is no negotiation about what a strike is and what is fair and safe and in and out and the ground rules, right? There is no conversation with an umpire. I always saw it that way, that there was a level of arrogance that made all of you hate each other.
Is it arrogance or as much as – yeah, it's like there is a chalk line that isn't crossed essentially. Maybe it's not the same. That's an interesting question. I mean, I wasn't a catcher or a pitcher, so like I said, from the offensive side, they can do nothing but, you know, obviously if they give me I'll be more excited when they give me some pitches that are balls, strikes, but it's quite the contrary.
But there's no more gimme
leagues, right?
anymore.
Like,
when
I'm usually getting a lot of balls called strikes, and I have to just kind of wear it. Especially, you know, I was never a seasoned vet, right? I only played 4 years, so I was always kind of in that
fighting
rookie realm,
right?
Yeah, to getting to arbitration. So it was like, I never got the benefit of the doubt with calls. So that's why And in the minors, too, it got a little better, but usually
But
it's
see, Kobe Mayo or Sam Basayo, I'm trying to think of guys in your space, Heston Kjerstad, guys battling. I mean, that'll be Westbrook. That'll be Holiday, even though he's a 1-1. He's still got to go do it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's no better than you one way. You got to go. The next 100 at bats are going to decide where he is,
they can't favor as much
right?
now because it's like all out
That's
there.
my point.
So they're using the ABS, and it's like, okay, so they lose a little bit of their.
The Greg Maddux.
They lose a little bit of their
zone,
let's say power, or a little bit of ability to have favoritism. That gets lost a little now because it's all on display. So there's a little more accountability, which is what I like. So those veteran pitchers isn't going to get the sinker that's down and away off the plate a little bit called on you for 2 strikes, because you're a rookie, and it's like, oh, yeah, that's close enough.
They got to give him more challenges because that way they'll get more calls right. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you had 5 challenges a game, you wouldn't, in the second inning, you're going to tap your hat to get the call right or wrong.
Well, it doesn't take too long. It doesn't take too long either, so that's the thing.
More challenges would make it more interesting, as I see it.
Yeah.
And then how you use those challenges when you have more of them, it becomes more like timeouts in football. I think they'll blend that and make it, look, man, it's baseball, right? Like, it's like watching paint dry for people not like you and me. Trying to get new people into baseball is not an easy thing to do.
Sure.
Right? So
that's a lot of why these rules are implemented.
Right,
to try
let's
to
make this
bring the
more
younger
fun
generation.
for people.
They need to make it quick and, more I think the clock was great because it made the game shorter. People could pay attention, But, I mean, the beauty of baseball is really going to the games because, you're kind of mingling, you're in it. Maybe you're having a drink at the bar, watching this beautiful green canvas out there and all the stadiums. Like, all the stadiums, people are like, what's your favorite stadium?
Do you like going to games?
All of them.
If I had a ticket to a game and invite you, do you enjoy going to a baseball game as a fan? Do you?
Yeah.
So last week, if I had a ticket, you would have gone.
I mean,
probably.
I
mean, with kids
I'd go to a baseball game with you. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, do you?
Would you want to go to a baseball game with me? So you could just ask me a question.
No. I don't know because I don't know how you perceive it or see it.
And I don't know how you are at a baseball game either.
Well, I'll give you an example. My dude Mark Messina, Mike's brother, right? Mark and I have been talking to going to games forever. Mark sees the game as an athlete. He played ball. He didn't play at his level as his brother, but every pitch his brother ever threw, he's there analyzing every part of the game, sees the game, thinks of it like a manager. When I'm at a game with somebody like that and it's serious and it's a good game or a big game, that's different than I'm going to drink beer on opening day and network with you and Brian Kowitz and say hello and take pictures with his kids than being involved in a game. Sometimes I straddle that. Am I watching the game to talk about it tomorrow? When I'm home watching it on TV, I'm listening to everything Ben's saying, everything Kevin Brown's saying. I'm at the mercy of what they're willing to show me and what they're willing to give me as a replay. I mean, I was at the game last week, and they spent all this friggin' money on this television set in the outfield, right?
Yeah.
The left fielder who had no business being in the left field misplayed the ball. It was the afternoon game against the Diamondbacks. It was a guy who Weston Ward, maybe. I don't know who it was. But they refused to even put it on the scoreboard. So now I'm at the game. Somebody's paid a lot of money for the tickets, and I'm not even getting to see the replay because it would embarrass the home left fielder. You make an error in left field, they don't show it. Like, I'm thinking, like, what are we doing here? Like, I'm at the game. I just want to see the replays to see what happened. They're not even going to show. I have to open my phone on a sunny day, wait for it to show up on Twitter. Like, I don't even know what they're doing. Like, there's such a Pollyanna part about players getting their feelings hurt. But there's Melanie Newman and Rob Long in a friggin' dugout after you hit a home run, sticking a microphone in your face in the third inning in a well of the dugout. When the guy who's on the on-deck circle's now on, you're sweating, you just got hosed off, you had your drink. I don't recognize it in that way because I wouldn't want to be the one in the dugout sticking a mic in your face for any amount of money because I think it's a little not a good job and not what 35 years of being around athletes tells me is a good idea. That's all.
I know all the conversations, like the mid-conversations is something that's very new to me. And I was thinking about that because a lot of, media's not in there until before and after the game, right? So then you're with your team, you're kind of concentrating on the game. But they're asking more in every sport. I feel like having that conversation it kind of takes them out of the zone, I feel like, a little bit from a coach's perspective
or
player.
Is what I say.
It's just there's so many distractions. That's just another distraction in the middle of being fully engaged and immersed in this sport, which is supposed to be fun. I mean, you prepare mentally, physically, all off season, all when you're outside the field, you probably visualize the game, how it's going to go. And then when you get in the games are supposed to be fun, So when you're there and people are asking you about things, especially if they go wrong or right, there's a microphone in your face, right? And it's
I'm through with that. I don't need to hear from you after a home run.
Even in football, too. It's like, I don't know. I don't really need to hear the coaches. Like, I'd rather just have the game play out. I'm not a big fan of it being an athlete, a former athlete. Like,
I didn't think you would be. And being a journalist, I'm not a big fan of it either.
And
I like asking questions, and I like perspective. You never get any perspective in that moment, especially when you're interviewing the coach at halftime.
You see it all the time with coaches, even through the collegiate.
It's
like
like
asking coaches at halftime, they're like, I don't know, I got to assess everything and talk to my team. It's like you could tell they're not even. I'm like, I'm not thinking about an interview I have right now. I got to think about what we're doing the next quarter, the next 2 quarters to try and get a W here, or going in the next inning, what I got to do. It's
unnatural.
It's just.
That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Casper Wells is here. He sells insurance. He played baseball at a very, very high level in the big leagues. You can look him up. He went to Towson. He's here. Why are you here locally? People say, what are you doing in Baltimore, dude?
Me?
Yeah.
What am I doing in Baltimore?
Yeah. Why are you here?
Why am I here?
You went to college here. You knew people.
Well, yeah, my wife's from Bel Air.
Oh, that's why you're here.
So that helps.
Right.
Yeah, my family's so we were in Arizona, and then we went right before COVID. We got married. We were down in Fed Hill at Das Beer House. Me and my wife met back in the day.
With Scott Bauer.
It's Scott and Mel, yeah. And then we remain good friends with them to this day. But we moved out to Arizona.
He's gotten himself fit, Scott.
Oh yeah, he's on another level.
He's a beast.
Well, me and my wife and him and Mel, we did High Rocks in D.C. together. We did a relay.
Well, I mean, I've seen his physical journey. I've been meaning to get him on to get a crab cake over at Das Beer Hall, so I'd do that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
100%.
Make that happen. Yeah.
Any day you want to do that. I want to hear his story.
Yeah.
I watch him. I mean, we're Facebook friends. Because he had Das Beer Hall, he would do a German fest down at Federal Hill.
Yeah.
And my wife had her life saved by a German guy. So part of our whole thing was eating some German food.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So we actually took Niels when he came to America in 2016 to Das Beer Hall. This does not look like this is sort of German, but it's not all German. So, so we had that whole thing going on.
Oh, that's funny.
So I've learned my German accent, When
it's more Austrian, right? Arnold's.
When a guy saves your wife's life, you can work it a little bit.
No, that's great.
So.
Yeah. And the German beer is just all, the beer and the food. They really pride themselves on the food. They try to make it very
I'm down
authentic,
with it, Dunkel.
So.
I'm down. You hook me up with that. I'm good.
Oh, yeah.
Put
we can
me
go
in.
over there. Me and my wife are actually bringing a full circle and everything tied to, Blood Cancer United. We're guest bartending.
Where? At Das Beer Hall?
Yeah, May 20th.
Hold on. Let me know what night of the week is that. It might be
this
a wet.
This is the first time announcing it officially.
That might be a wet night for me. That's a Wednesday. Hold on. That's a Wednesday. Yeah, I just get back from Vegas that night.
5 to 8, me and my wife, yeah.
5 to 8 on the 20th.
Yep.
Is there going to be German food?
There's going to be German food, people. It's going to be a throwback from when we used to get to.
All right, tell Scott to set the karaoke machine up, and I'll sing Dankeschön.
Look at this right here.
Dankeschön, darling, Dankeschön.
That's a throwback back in a Das Beer Hall day picker right there. So the 20th of
May, Casper Wells, come meet a big leaguer.
Yeah.
Are you guest bartending? Is that what you're?
Me and my wife are gonna. Yeah, we're gonna guest bartend there.
So I told Marcella here she don't want me behind the bar here. I mean, people say LLS and by the way, he's running for Visionary of the Year. It used to be Man of the Year and Woman of the Year. Now it's Visionary of the Year. It is June 6th down at the Pendry. It's for LLS. That's Leukemia Lymphoma Society. They were crucial in saving my wife's life as well. Do you have a cancer story other than like you got snookered into this by Nick Schultz last year or no?
Well, my aunt at a younger age had a multiple myeloma when I was playing in pro ball, and it was pretty traumatic for our family. We're really close. Okay. And so I stay in touch.
Survivor?
No, she passed away. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. How long ago was this?
This was a while ago, probably when I was still coming up in the minor leagues. So
you're in the fight for her. I got you.
My aunt died of breast cancer.
Sure.
So, but
every year at the All-Star game, they have Stand Up to Cancer, who you stand up for. I took my wife in D.C. in 19. She got to stand up for herself.
Yep. Yeah,
Perfect.
That's special.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's people, the thing about this journey I've been on is I just have people reach out to me that have either been affected personally or have had family members affected. So it just, kind of reemphasizes, why you're doing it and the importance around it and the fact that it really does help.
So I met my wife 2003. She thought she was a Red Sox fan. She still is, and they're in town right now. So she's got a closet full. So Kurt Schilling married my best friend growing up.
Okay.
So Kurt was pitching on that team, and Shonda, his wife, we hooked first. I got a D in journalism senior year because we were at the Burger King in Croissant on Merritt Boulevard. Because she drove me to school every day. Sometimes we detoured. Sometimes, senior year, we had senioritis back in '85. So Kurt was on that team, and my wife was a Red Sox fan. So we were at Game 7 at Yankee Stadium when they beat the Yankees, the night that Damon hit the home runs into the upper deck. And so my wife got to celebrate that night in her Red Sox jersey and all that stuff. And then they won, and they won again, and they won again. Charles Steinberg and Larry Lucchino and Janet Marie, and I built the monster. And so, I've been through all of that with the Red Sox thing with my wife.
Yeah.
But in 2003, I brought her down. I proposed to her on Federal Hill the night that Pedro pitched against the Orioles. And
you proposed her on Federal Hill?
Yeah, right on Federal Hill on the bench, right over Federal Hill.
That's where Scott and Mel got married, right up there.
All right, so second.
It's a good spot.
Second one over above the Rusty Scupper, right by the cannon. I proposed to her there. We were going to go to Oriole Park that night, but it was kind of chilly. We went to Nacho Mama's instead with Scunny and had a beer, late great Scunny, and had a Natty Bow, as I remembered. And so my wife was a baseball fan, but her dad took her to see the Celtics when she was a little girl, to see like Parrish and the Chief and Dennis Johnson and Larry Bird of that era.
Sure.
But she loved baseball, but she had never kept score. So when I met my wife, I was still in the media then. Imagine that. And they would give me the press notes and the press box that they give to Luke Jones. And I taught her how to keep score, like scorecard. And then she got addicted to keeping score back early in our marriage. And I caught her one night, and this is when you know you got to keep her for a wife. I took her to the ballpark, and I would drop her off in left field or whatever at Camden. We live in downtown. And I walked to the press box to get the notes and got a pen so she could keep score. And I came back. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And she was keeping score. You're wearing white shoes. She was keeping score on her shoes. She had taken a pen, and she said, well, I wanted to keep score on my shoe. It's a true story, my wife. So my wife likes baseball. Well,
so you got to get a new pair of shoes every time you go to a game.
I mean, she's a little pissed about this new ownership and it being the 21st consecutive year that I don't have a media pass for the games. But my wife will make fun of it sometimes. My last name's Aparicio, so it has some baseball. And her last name's got a baseball. Aparicio's her last name. But she does, when the game's on, she likes baseball.
Yeah.
Good game, 7th inning. She likes this ABS thing. Challenge that. So she's not one that is anti-baseball. She thinks crappy baseball is crappy, and we've had a lot of that in Baltimore. So Casper Wells, I want to ask you, this Oriole team, do you have any – do you feel signs of life? I mean, they don't catch the ball well. They strike out a lot. They've had a lot of key injuries. I'm okay with the rotation if Bassett and Baz are going to be – more front of the line. I'm okay with Dean Kramer being a fist. I'm okay with the bullpen's been pretty good. I believe Alonso and Henderson are going to hit. But for me, Holiday, Westberg, Mayo, Rutschman, Cowser, Basayo. Fans think of every prospect, and you were a prospect who had it hard. It's hard to do this, right? So we're watching Kobe Mayo struggle right now. We're watching Basayo struggle, watching Holiday. You are a poster child for 85% of the other guys that played Major League Baseball who lasted a couple of years because it's so hard. I ran into Paul Molitor last week, so I'll use him. It's hard to be Paul Molitor. It's hard to be Kurt Schilling.
Sure.
It's hard to be Gunnar Henderson, even when you're 4 years in and you look like you're going to the Hall of Fame. It's hard to do. It's hard to maintain, and it's hard when they make adjustments to figure out your strengths and your weaknesses and then just hammer your weakness, whatever that is.
Well, some of those guys, it's still early, right, for a lot of those guys. I mean, Basayo had he was blasting the ball in spring training.
Doesn't feel that when he's cracking the bat over his knee, right, though?
Yeah, but, I mean, it's a little time. Look, it's April, right? I mean, there's time. I mean, there's times where I don't have a home run or RBI on the board, till mid-May. And granted, I was a platoon player, but there's definitely time. I mean, I'd wait till May kind of expires so you get into June. Once June kicks in, then it's time to kind of see where you're at, right? That's kind of like the Thanksgiving in relation to the NFL.
Memorial Day. Memorial Day.
Yeah, let's say
4th
Memorial
of July, All-Star break.
Yeah,
we'll take a look.
Let's see where the team is there. Let's wait till Memorial Day, kind of see where they're at. But they have a lot of promise, obviously.
I agree with that. I thought they were going to win 92 games. So,
Well, a younger team, too, right?
I just thought this is the year Holiday's going to come on, Westbrook's going to come on, might get something out of Mayo, Basayo's going to get enough at-bats and have enough shelter. Rutschman has to come back. He's a friggin' 1-1. Like, I think of it like that. You were a well-thought-of player. You were when you get to that level, that jump from AAA to the big leagues, I've been hearing about it for 40 years. You experienced it. It's really hard to do. And being a 50-year baseball fan, for how many great, bright prospects hit 30 home runs at Rochester back in my day and come up and struggle, it's not uncommon, right? I mean, and you lived it, how hard it is to do. What is it about that you could tell me about 15 years later and say that adjustment that those guys are going through right now, if they were to sit and have a beer with you here, and Kobe Mayo's saying, dude, I'm hitting a $111 right now, they figured out that I can't hit the whatever that is, and they're gonna hammer me with that until I can make that adjustment, right? You know that. As a platoon player, they had already said, we're not going to even let you do that. You're going to specialize at this, right? That's what they do to you when you get to this level, right?
Well, they're just looking for consistency overall, right? I mean, your platoon player just means you don't have enough consistency to be an everyday player. So, and you're going to play against pitchers. I'm going to play against lefty pitchers because I was right-handed, and the vice versa. That's something that's big. But, numbers kind of are indicative of that.
Well, the Orioles didn't face a lefty for 15 games, right, to start the season.
Yeah.
So the right-handed bats kind of chilled a little bit, right? We saw that here.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's a consistency thing. I mean, I guarantee those players aren't thinking like, oh, they found out my weakness, and if they did have a weakness, and they're going to work on an adjustment. But there's slight adjustments in season because you got to really keep your focus simple. Otherwise, it's so overwhelming from media to what people are saying. So, like, I would imagine a lot of guys, especially if you're going through a struggle, kind of tune off social media, maybe even family, or people, close friends, like, because they'll always be like, what's going on, or kind of distance themselves. But then they'll kind of concentrate and work with their hitting coaches on I think approach is the biggest thing. So I know when I was off, it was my approach. Like, what was I thinking about before the pitch was coming? I mean, when I was at my best, I was looking for a fastball out over the plate, trying to drive it to right center as a righty, just kept me on. And then when I would start getting into struggles, I'd pull out, try to pull, or try to get on top of the ball, or do something different. And I would get reeled back by some of my hitting coaches to get back to that consistency. But I guarantee they're not looking back on things. They're looking kind of forward. It's always next pitch, right? Like, I missed that one. You got to keep it really simple because there's so many outside factors that'll affect you in a negative way that you got to keep it simple in order to be consistent, when it comes to batting.
Casper Wells is my guest. We're at Koco's, all brought to you by the Maryland Lottery, GBMC, as well as Farland and Durham. I sit here all day and talk to a baseball player about baseball, but the era that you played in, I got thrown out in 06. I was an insider for 21 years, from 85 to 06. During that period of time, I don't know that the game changed a lot. I do know that I was very close with Tony Gwynn. And I just befriended him. My aunt lived in San Diego. I was out there chasing girls. I had a key to her house. I had, Southwest Airlines flying me out in the 90s.
It's a good spot.
So I became friends with him, and I would watch I was in his closet with his videotapes. I mean, I saw he was the only guy doing it that way then. Cal Ripken wasn't even doing it that way then, right? That the game came on for video, for measurement. You were a part of the game when the shift had come, right? And specialization of lefty, and righty, and Buck Showalter hiding 3 pitchers out at a Best Western Inn in Schenectady waiting for the next night or whatever. You lived through that and played into that era. Everyone I've talked to in the modern era, and people that have made it through all of these eras, people I still know in the game, they tell me I wouldn't recognize it, that if you were a player, if you were Paul Molitor, the way you interacted with your batting coach in 1992 was one way. Now they have every piece of science. Yeah. They have your bat trajectory, the ball, your zone. My dad handed me Ted Williams' A Science of Hitting. There were 9 zones, right? Yeah. Like that. My dad was always trying to be scientific about the math of all of this. I could see where even at 41, if you went back and were 21 again, what Kobe Mayo is getting in his slump right now that you got when you were in your second slump and you're trying to make it, and you have the skill set to do this, and you've done it successfully at every level, and big league teams believe in you and they're giving you at-bats, that whatever that thing that happens from 10 in the morning where you get up to you get in the batter's box at 8:05 or 6:05 these days, they play earlier, that whatever that coach is telling you is a lot different than me seeing Terry Crowley with the Orioles or my late great friend Greg Biagini, who took me under his wing and tried to teach me hitting, or those old-time – Chuck Cottier died last year. These great people, Rick Down, who taught me hitting, but they taught me hitting ball on a tee, in a
Sure.
cage, in one of those little screen rooms in Fort Lauderdale. I would think so much of this has evolved where Tony Gwynn was, where you came along as a kid and had video at least to see yourself. Where they are now, it could be, and Kurt Schilling used to say this to me all the time when I was younger, paralysis by analysis.
Yeah.
At some point, these coaches get up on you and they're doing this and doing that, and it's like changing your swing. I mean, Ripken had 15 different swings at the plate.
Yeah.
I don't know how many, if I looked at you as a minor league player, how many times you really changed the way Casper Wells stood in the box and the way your wrists were and what you were trying to do.
Yeah.
But those adjustments, my God, I can imagine in the modern era with the stats and all the breakdowns, how math-centric you'd have to be as a baseball player to be able to survive modern coaching. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, and for someone that overthinks so much, I feel like it would be a little bit of paralysis by analysis for me with getting all that information. Now, that being said, though, I think sometimes coaches, especially after doing it for so long, you got to think about like these hitting coaches. It's like, when's the last time they actually got in a batter's box and hit, right? So some of the information, they're not going to really, fresh off of playing like 5 years out of playing in the big leagues, that's when you could be a good coach. Like, I remember what this is like hitting, but it's evolved so much. I feel like a lot of these coaches, maybe they forgot a little bit about hitting. I mean, it's natural because I think about it now. People are like, well, come over and teach my kid. And I'm like, even 10 years out, I'm like, I can provide value, but it's tough for me to like draw back to those feelings, exactly what I was thinking about, unless I was journaling that. I have some journals that I have that I saw some of the things I was taking notes on when I was playing. But
just because you can do it doesn't mean you can coach it either.
No,
right?
But what that element of all the information, everything does is it provides a consistency, right? If like your angle, if you use it in that sense and not get paralyzed by some of the data and everything else there, then maybe we can think about like, okay, like you were doing something at this angle or whatever, you can utilize it in that sense that when you notice that it's off tilt a little, then you can adjust back to where your baseline, where you were having success, where that is with all that information. That's where I think where it can benefit you. Because every coach, too, has different perspectives. So my challenge coming up in the minors, playing at every different level, is that I had different coaches telling me different things, Like I would hit on my front foot a lot, and the way I swung, it's kind of like Andrew Jones, where I didn't really rotate back. I kind of like – that's why I have hip issues now at 41 because I just wore my hip out for my entire life because of that flexibility and the way I hit. But other coaches are like, oh, you need to be back. And that would totally change your perspective, your swing. So really, a lot of it's indicative on the coach, and they could totally change – if you weren't having success, it's like, okay, now we're going to change you a little bit and try to make an adjustment.
And that can make it worse.
And if it can make it better or worse. Sometimes it's like, okay, that's not really, but they just try it, And I think what the data shows is that like we need to we can put you in this position and work on this. So there's more consistency there, right? That's why I think it would benefit.
Well, I've enjoyed talking ball with you. You said we're going to talk baseball, and I said, man, I love talking baseball with people who've done it at that level, but even – to your point, like the game's changed a lot. And if you went back and had to go suit up tonight and play, the information, your day would be different between 2 o'clock and 6 o'clock than it was 20 years ago.
Yeah, I imagine. Yeah, we got a Towson guy that's up in the big leagues, Richie Palacios. He made the team with the Rays, and he's come up and he plays with them. He does well. He had a homer a couple weeks back there. I saw in the Twins when he had his hoodie on. It was probably like 30 degrees at that game, and there's no one there, but. Yeah, I mean, he's up in the big leagues representing Towson, so it's good to see that.
Go Tigers. I'm at Towson. I'm WNST Towson, Baltimore is what I have. Really good to have you on. He sells insurance for Heller Kowitz. Tell everybody what you do in the real world. And, of course, running for Visionary of the Year, LLS. Going to be out of Das Beer Hall May 20th, pouring them with the big head on there, the Dunkel and the Pilsner and all that good stuff, right?
Yeah, we'll be over at
Give me a nice Kolsch. Work me up a Kolsch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they're great. Kolsch's great. We'll be at Cooper's Tavern May 5th as well.
Okay.
Similar thing.
Cooper's in Cooper's North.
Cooper's North, yeah.
Okay, because they just opened the new
Cooper's North.
Coopers up in Avid-Grace.
Yeah, yeah.
So they got it. So what's that date again? Two
May
events.
5th, Cinco de Mayo.
Okay.
I know people might have other plans, but if not, come over to Cooper's North. In the 5th.
Arriba, let's go. Cinco de Mayo. My thanks to Casper Wells. He's with Heller Kowitz Insurance. My thanks to Steve and Brian as well. And Brian's running around Kansas City. Brought the Orioles good luck in the third game of that series.
Yeah.
Gary Adonat has been my friend for 42 years. He's going to come by. We're going to talk some high school sports here momentarily. And I think Marcelo's going to stop by as well. It's all brought to you by the Maryland Lottery. I have the Maryland Treasure scratch-offs to give away. Also, our friends at GBMC keeping me healthy. And Farnan and Dermer, they are the comfort guys for HVAC and AC. Get your AC. You don't want to be doing it on a 98-degree day. Get it checked out now, and when the weather gets hot, you'll have nice frosty AC from our friends at the Comfort Guys. Back for more at Koco's. I might have a nice frosty beer here, and the burger of the day from yesterday. I think we can get him to make me a little burrata burger here with some red pepper. I'm going to do that. Back for more.
Good.
It does sound good.